My lords, the Infernals DLC is almost upon us. Today, I'll attempt to cover everything that we know so far and address some of the community feedback as well. So we begin with Infernal Pops and the thermophilic trait. Infernals evolve tissues of metallic alloys to grow and thrive on hot planets where traditional organics would cook. These alloyed cells are slow to degrade and are replaced infrequently, delaying the onset of age-related disease. They also conduct cold temperatures, which can threaten their health in colder climates. For the Infernals Species Pack, the developers have decided to make them exist somewhere between lithoids and normal organics. Infernals will begin with the thermophile trait, which replaces their food consumption with a small amount of alloy. They'll thrive on volcanic worlds, but suffer on colder planets. Under normal circumstances, this will change their habitability preference, replacing Arctic, Alpine and Tundra worlds with volcanic worlds. So the thermophile trait is giving an alloy upkeep per 100 pops of 0.25, it's increasing volcanic world habitability, setting a minimum habitability on volcanic worlds as 50, so a little bit like how the Subterraneans work, and increasing leader lifespan by plus 10. Interesting. So essentially this habitability decrease of 30% is reflected in their lore. For those of you who have both lithoids and infernals, we've let two of the lithoids be able to freely choose whether to be lithoid or infernal, the lithoid human portrait and the lava star. So these are these two down the bottom. So these are the Theans, if memory serves. They have the phenotype trait based on the phenotype you were looking at them when you select them. So I'm assuming it's talking about the subcategories of portraits when you go through. But let's learn about volcanic worlds. Volcanic worlds are rocky worlds with a sulfur-rich atmosphere and a partially liquid lithosphere. The ash and basalt covered surface is interspersed with fresh volcanic activity, lava lakes and rivers. Only extremophile life forms can be found, if any at all. When Toxoid's released, the developers included the Detox Ascension perk. I'm going to pause here to say that is possibly the weakest and least picked Ascension perk in the entire game, and if I'm being cynical, it's only in the game because they needed an Ascension perk to go with the Toxoids DLC. But moving on. The developers included the Detox Ascension perk to allow you to build colonies on toxic terraforming candidates. This was the solution to the problem we felt that we couldn't simply let you live on any toxic world, as they outnumbered normal habitable worlds 10 to 1. You made it clear this wasn't terribly satisfying because it did not let you fulfill the fantasy of living on toxic worlds until the relatively late game. Yeah, I agree. The whole toxic world thing is really bizarre to me. They didn't have to have toxic worlds outnumber habitable worlds by 10 to 1 either. I find the whole thing very odd. In any case, when discussing the initial designs for Infernals, the developers knew that they wanted to let us live on molten worlds from the get-go. But they had the same problem. Molten worlds are far too common to be trivially colonizable, so we created a new planet class, volcanic worlds. These are molten worlds that retain an atmosphere and have sufficient solid land to be considered at least semi-habitable. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's an interesting way to solve the problem. Couldn't they just make molten worlds rarer, perhaps? I'm not sure. I don't know if this is the sort of thing that actually follows science and the sort of setup of all the different worlds in terms of how common, say, a planet is actually based on reality. I'm not sure. It would be cool if that's the case. So volcanic worlds replace mining districts with magma conduits and agricultural districts with thermotechnic forums. Wow, that's a word. Thermoforges split their production between minerals and alloys, and thermotechnic mentor specialist jobs provided by the forums modify the production of thermoforges, technicians, metallurgists, and artisans. Okay, so magma conduits are giving alloy and minerals, and the forums, thermotechnic forums, are giving research and unity. Okay, that's quite nice, I guess. That's interesting, especially as it's a replacement for food. And I guess they sort of need the alloy from the get-go in order to fund their upkeep just as people, don't they? In some of the speculation around volcanic worlds, I've seen some of you suggest the idea of converting toxoids to a similar system using corrosive worlds. I like the idea, but it's not likely to happen in the near future. Well, that's interesting. I do think that they should obviously take the wins from later DLCs and apply them to older DLCs, especially if it's a relatively simple fix. That comes from me not having any real background in game development, but yeah. So we're also teased some species traits. We have Crucible Community, which gives Edict Fund for each 100 pops. Interesting. We have Pyroclastic Channeling. This is giving population growth speed on volcanic worlds by 10%. I like that, that's quite cool. Shell Slag, where every 100 pops working as slave or better produces living metal per month. That's quite interesting. I'm not really sure how useful that would be. I find, and I don't know how everyone else feels about this, I find that the really rare resources outside of dark matter are mostly useless. I mean, Zero has more uses since Shadows of the Shroud, but you almost always find yourself in a massive surplus. Unless maybe you're using it for some psionic ship components, but yeah. Living metal, I can't really think of a single thing which requires lots of living metal, beyond maybe the odd edict. Maybe they need rarer or more specific uses, I'm not sure. And then the final one is Unbreakable Resolve. So this gives stability per pops, which is cool, up to a max 15. So that's quite cool, I guess. We've also been teased some Stellaris merchandise goodies. I mean, that's a cool. I like the hat actually. That's very on point. I quite like the jumper. The socks are okay. It's very Space Invader-y. I mean, that's clearly a Juggernaut. These are, I guess, Stellaris ships, aren't they? These look a little bit like daisies. What aliens have we got? We've got the Mass Effect Preacher alien, Haber something. That looks like a Blorg. That's the Toxoid guy. And then that looks like the Keepers of Ave Bram. What is this? Is this a flag that I'm not on board with? What is... I'm sure someone in the comments will tell me. Oh, cool. Okay, so we've seen some portraits as well. I think we've seen some of these portraits before, but let's go through them anyway, because I like them. Both of these look really good. Isn't it so lovely that they give us high-resolution images of these? I feel like they don't do that enough. Oh, wow, that seems very thermophile. Oh, I really like that. Tiny little fleshy thing hidden in massive rocky exoskeleton. That looks awesome. Love that. Quill guy, sure. Oh, it's the guys from the trailers. This is cool. I like that one. Is this a Infernal or is this a robot though? Beaky and Tank Boy. Oh, it'll be an organic in Tank Boy, won't it? Tank Boy. It'll have the tank porn trait. Yeah, I like those. I think that's really cool. So let's address some of the top comments on the forums. So we've got the Corrosive Worlds is a good idea, even if it isn't possible, it needs to be done. I agree. I think that would be good to the game. Great to see Volcanic Rift Lithoids are still canonically infernal, although I expected the demon-looking humanoids of the Knights of the Toxic God invasion to also get the same treatment. It's cool and all, but weird toxoids can't live on a toxic planet. Agreed. This is a lithoid, isn't it, this one? What about different species other than thermophile? Can they live on volcanic worlds, or is it like machine worlds for organics? Not sure. Well, this is a good question. Will regular races be able to settle on volcanic worlds, or will they need something like rare tech to inhabit them, just like Tomb Worlds? Do they have unique Gaia variety, or can they settle in just fine? But we don't get a reply to that. So my take on this, I think this is a good question from Edorath, is that yes, they will be able to settle on volcanic worlds. Whether they need a tech or not, I'm not sure. But it makes sense to me that we would be able to settle on them. I really hope it doesn't end up being an Ascension perk. Oh, okay, this is a really good point that Shooting Star raises. So Ascension perks that enhance planetary terraforming, hydrocentric detox world shaper, are less competitive in terms of opportunity cost compared to Ascension perks that enhance the planet itself, archaeology project, hive worlds, machine worlds. 100% agree, big agree. Even if this DLC adds an Ascension perk enabling molten world terraforming, a similar situation is expected. 100% agree. Are there plans to reorganize these, perhaps consolidating them into a single Ascension perk like Galactic Wonders? Couldn't agree with this more. I think this is a fantastic take. Why not combine all of these into an Ascension perk? Maybe that then allows you to terraform into Gaia worlds, for example. Just basically shove it all into World Shaper. I suspect that the only reason maybe I'm being cynical and that Hydrocentric tied to a DLC, Detox tied to a DLC, that's why they haven't done it. I'm not sure, but I think that would be a fantastic, good quality of life change to happen. And in fairness, no one's buying toxoids for Detox, are they? I assume, I hope. Who knows? Okay, fantastic. So that's 402 covered. Let's move on to 403. So we're looking here at the origins or one of the origins in Cosmic Dawn, Civics, and the Infernal Shipset. Fantastic. I'm not going to go over the open beta patch notes because I'm so far behind that it's probably changed again since then. Now we're going to go over the Cosmic Dawn origin, take a look at the civics of the Infernal Species Pack, and end with the ships. Fantastic. The Custodian team has also been looking into improving the underlying architecture of modifier application and porting a more modern solution for threading from newer versions of the Clausewitz engine into Stellaris. Interesting. These by themselves will not provide significant changes, but they are part of the necessary work to create a better foundation to build upon the rest of the year's open beta. I feel like I've addressed performance a little bit. My own personal take on it, the performance needs to get significantly better, particularly the multiplayer performance, to bring the game back to where it perhaps was post-Machine Age. I think the previous year, Season 8, is potentially the most fun I've had with Stellaris. Machine Age I thought was fantastic. Cosmic Storms wasn't the best, but I enjoyed the stories at least. The storm mechanics are a bit iffy, but it was still enjoyable. And the storms look beautiful as well. Grand Archive was also really fun for me. I really enjoyed the Voidworm Crisis. I thought the previous year, 2024, went fantastically well. This year, there's clearly been performance issues, and despite the quality of the DLCs, if the game is experiencing performance issues, you can't enjoy the DLCs. So it's really important that they're looking into this, and hopefully we'll see some positive outcomes later down the line. I'll caveat that with I haven't touched the beta at all, so perhaps some of you guys can let me know if we are seeing good performance increases. And then we've also got an update on the Advanced Hulls experiment, which I'm interested about actually, because I personally wasn't the biggest fan of that. So Eladrin states, on the design side, the Advanced Hull experiment has run into some snags with the UX design. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not thrilled with how some of the gameplay is working and the impact it has on pacing, so I've shelved that variant for now, and am experimenting with a different trial that also reduces ship counts so far that it feels like it works better within existing systems. Some things like Titan weapons having collateral damage will make it into the experiment as well, and more info on this as I get a better feel for it and as we get closer to the 4.30 open beta. So I briefly covered the Advanced Hull experiment, I guess probably a month or two ago now. I was never a huge fan of that. It always felt to me like the sort of meta solution would just be to run the smaller hulls anyway, because you'll have more guns. It never got released, and obviously we never got to play with it, so it's not entirely clear how that would have played out, but yeah, I was never a great lover of it. My take on how to reduce ship numbers is just to absolutely gut the economy. Divide all the numbers by 100 and go back to the point where 2 minerals is a good thing rather than irrelevant. So moving on to one of the new origins with Infernals Cosmic Dawn. Like warmer remnants in the Cosmic Dawn origin, your empire once thrived long ago. Your people awaken to a cold and hostile galaxy, and you have the opportunity to find and release your brethren and rediscover the past. Very interesting. Let's read the origin description. We woke with only the faintest sense that we had ever fallen asleep. Even now, our strongest evidence of a time before comes not from our own memories, but from the complex technology that preserved us in stasis. Interesting. I wonder why they went into stasis in the first place. Thousands upon thousands of pods, massive heat transfer systems, cauldron churning molten rock. Beyond these bare mechanisms, clues to our origin were inscribed in the walls. Fleets of ships scattering from cooling worlds to seek warmth among the stars. In search of answers, we left this underground birthing chamber. Across the surface of Joshiliko, we discovered useful technologies and resource, and we have also found evidence of further facilities nestled within the planet's crust. Some hold sleepers we might welcome as kin. But what of the stars? Are there others like us still sleeping? If they exist, perhaps they can help us answer our most burning question of who are we? Remnants is potentially one of my favourite origins, but one which I think has the most potential, except it's sort of unrealised potential, if you like. And I understand why Remnants is the way that it is. They don't want to tie you into a story. So when I play Remnants, 9 times out of 10 I'm a sort of thought extinct exterminator empire or a devouring swarm or something like that, because I think it fits the bill quite nicely. So this has potential. It appears that the origin comes with some penalties, which is minus 600,000 pops. Interestingly, you can't be a hive mind, and you have to be infernal. And you also can't have a biological ship set. But this may be really interesting. So the developers tell us this origin may appeal greatly to anyone who enjoys digging holes and meshes thematically quite nicely with the Galactic Hyperthermia Crisis Path. Well, that is really interesting, isn't it? We don't know anything about the Crisis Path 2 yet, do we? I don't want to spoil too much of what happens, though. If you attend the live stream, well, we didn't do that. Moving on to some of the Infernal civics. Ooh, okay. So we have Fire Cult. Forged by generations of extreme hardship, this society believes in survival through unity and unity through survival. Only Fireborn struggle can bind them tightly enough to endure a cold, uncaring galaxy. So what's this giving us? Unity job output increases proportionally with lower habitability. That's kind of cool. So I guess the idea of, look, we're all in this, we all live on this terrible planet together. Let's sort of get on with it together as a team. I like that. That's kind of cool. Galvanic synthesis. This society is able to synthesize regular alloys into living metal. So that's interesting. We touched on living metal a couple of minutes ago. Why? Oh, I see. We're getting living metal components, regenerative armor, and reshaping projectile accelerator. Is that a weapon? Reshaping projectile accelerator. Come on, guys. You can come up with better names than that. Reshaping projectile accelerator. I guess that's like a Mac cannon, but the slug can change. I don't know. That's funny. We also have off-world prospectors. So what does this civic actually give us? Just access to living metal. So it's maybe it's a bit like the dark matter one. Okay. Then we have planet forgers. So this society thrives in volcanic environments and will even create them artificially when nature falls short. That's kind of cool. I like that. Increased volcanic world habitability. It's very thematic, isn't it? Like, you know, look, our original planet is volcanic. We really like that. So let's terraform some more. I like that. And then we have Scorched World Heralds. Ooh, wow. And this has a lot of requirements. You must be xenophobic. So this is a purifier, is it? Oh, cool. This is a purifier. So heat permeates every facet of this society's culture, from tradition and rituals to technology itself. They see themselves as the galaxy's rightful fiery supremacist, viewing weaker species as mere obstacles on the path to an ideal universe, fit only for thermophiles. Interesting. So it seems to be giving purifier buffs, naval capacity plus 50%. Do purifiers get that much naval capacity? That's crazy. I'm not sure about the text for that. So they haven't really explained the difference between lithoids and thermophiles. A thermophile from science would just be an organism that thrives in heat. Is there anything to say a lithoid couldn't also survive in heat? I know that they did those sort of cross-species things. I guess lithoids get habitability bonuses. They'll probably be fine on volcanic worlds. I don't know. I don't really like we're superior because we can withstand heat. Whatever. It's a cool... at least they've got a flavour civic. I mean, although it must be said, actually, if we're doing that, why don't lithoids have a similar one? Why don't toxoids? Why don't aquatics? Why does aquatic life not have a specific fish are the superior species kind of vibe? Yeah, in any case. We've also got Gestalt versions of the civics, and they're extremely similar. There are some thematic differences between Megacorp and regular Empire versions. So we've got Galvanic Symbiosis, so we've already seen that one. Pyromanic Instinct, this is the Purifier one, but is it the Purifier one? Oh, it's Hive. Sorry, I didn't see the thing at the top. Create special blockers with the seismic carpet bombing. I didn't see that. Oh, that's cool. Interesting. Okay, moving on. Planet Forgers are one way to gain volcanic world habitability with non-infernal portraits. You're not required to have a volcanic homeworld, but the Civic does remove Arctic, Alpine, and Tundra worlds. I'm not sure. I don't know what to do with that information. Earth looks cool though, doesn't it? Ooh, okay, Infernal Shipset. I haven't seen these at all. This is literally my first look. The Infernal Shipset, we wanted to go with a sweeping obsidian teeming with energy. Okay. I'm seeing the Corvette for the first time, and then... Oh no, that's just the Corvette, but with different weapon slots. That looks cool. Colony ship is just a big bubble. Oh, is that the Destroyer? That looks huge. They look very Covenanty, don't they? Oh yeah, that looks really... I really like that. The Juggernaut looks... Wait. Yeah, that's the Juggernaut. Is this the battleship? That must be the battleship. This is the Titan. That looks... Do you know what? They've done a good job with these. Oh, that Juggernaut looks unreal. I really like that. Science ship looks pretty cool. Colossus. I don't know what resolution they're taking these pictures with, but it looks a bit fuzzy, doesn't it? And we're back at the Christmas stuff. Okay, moving on. We've got 2 left to address. Okay, so now we get to move on to the Red Giant origin. So the Red Giant at the heart of our home system has suddenly entered a phase of rapid, anomalous growth. Its energy output is increasing, but it's unclear why. As we grow to understand exactly what's going on, we'll have to make the decision on whether to halt or even reverse the process, or be reforged in its flames. Okay. The civilization is at a crossroad. The Red Giant at the heart of its system is warming up. It's warming up their planet, threatening to cook them alive. Can they adapt until the cause is found and fixed, or will they decide to embrace the heat, capitalizing on these strange and perhaps unnatural changes? Interesting. I wonder if this is a challenging origin. It doesn't say that it is. It sounds like it should be. The truth came slowly, then all at once. Our star is entering a phase of rapid and... Okay, yeah, we've read that. We'll move on. So if we dare to investigate the issue, you'll soon find that this is not, in fact, a natural occurrence, and that a twinned pair of subspace tunnels... Ooh! Okay. The truth about our star is stranger than we imagined. Ongoing investigations have revealed a twinned pair of subspace tunnels deep within the star. One of these channels a hydrogen-rich material directly into the outer shell, accelerating the fusion and increasing helium production. This should drive core compression, but the second tunnel actively siphons away the energy, counteracting the process. The result is the expansion of the star. Interesting. So who's doing this, I wonder? Oh, wow. More approaches appear as we learn more about the situation, which could do anything from reversing it to adding fuel to the fire. Oh, okay, and we've got lots of stages. It will go supernova. I'm assuming that means it'll also destroy your capital. As the situation advances, there'll be opportunities to exploit the phenomenon or to hide behind our scientists, begging them for protection. What does this mean? Your scientists are part of society. They're part of you. Surely you're all in it together. After triangulating the source of the disturbance and dealing with it, I was playing a Scorched World's Heralds for this playthrough, so it didn't go so well. We'll open up more options from reversing it to accelerating it. Why would you want to accelerate a supernova? Surely you'll just destroy your own planet. This looks very interesting, doesn't it? Oh, here we go. So it looks like the star has grown and it's... Okay, fantastic. So the star has claimed its first major victim, engulfing the innermost world of our system. Although the raw materials still exist, they now lie beyond our reach in this fiery depths of the star. While we can weather the immediate economic loss, this provides a frightening glimpse of what awaits Ferragar. I assume that's the home planet. Why would you do that? Ah, completing the situation in this manner will grant you a beautiful light show and a shortcut to galactic hyperthermia. I see, so this is going to push you towards the crisis path. That's interesting. And you can take it as your first ascension perk, a little perk for blowing up your own sun. Interesting. Okay, now it begins to make sense. our scientists have analysed the crystallised entropy once used to ignite the red giant, an act that nearly ended our civilization before it began. We can now re-engineer this volatile substance to bind and transport vast thermal energy for industrial, economic and stellar scale use. Simulations suggest it may enable terraforming into hotter climates or trigger stellar evolution into red giants. In theory, ambient galactic entropy should be reclaimed and converted into heat, driving systemic thermal expansion. I don't know anything about galactic hyperthermia yet, so I guess we're going to learn a little bit about it now. What is this? That's a planet being sucked into a star? I guess. It's very juicy, isn't it? I would have thought it would have gone all at once, but I don't know the science. What does this textbook say? So this is, I'm assuming this is the first stage or a very early stage of galactic hyperthermia. Do we get to understand what the point of the crisis is? What's the end goal? Oh wow, okay, so we're seeing loads of different options for all the things that we can do. Does anything stand out? So crystallized entropy is our currency. Forced ignition, the overclocking of, so we get a megastructure, and we can build an extra megastructure. We get some special cruisers. Do we know what the megastructure does though, I wonder? Okay, we get increased speed. Oh, you've got special battleships as well by those things. Can equip the lensed paralyzer weapon. With gun barrels as hot as the firestorm that is about to engulf the galaxy, these large ships will make up the bulk of our defensive forces around the Crucible. It's quite crazy that we're getting a player crisis in a species pack, isn't it? I mean, these all look fantastic, and they're obviously military, but I don't really understand at this stage why. What is the point? Do we just literally wish to set the galaxy aflame? Is that it? Just seems. I guess I'm saying that because Nemesis is we want to ascend / destroy the shroud / sort of bring the shroud into the physical world, and it's really not clear what the end result of that is, but there's quite a sort of a hard cutoff for your empire in the sense that maybe you've killed yourselves, maybe you've ascended into the shroud or what is left of the shroud, but there's sort of a clear cutoff. With Cosmogenesis, the end is we've left the galaxy. We've been able to escape reality and leave the galaxy. It's a clear end. What's the end with this? We wish to set the galaxy on fire and kill ourselves? We just wish to set the galaxy on fire? I'm not quite sure what the end result of this one is. Oh, okay, so we're going to learn a little bit more about the Crucible. So upgrading this megastructure allows it to deploy entropy conduits. These are automated systems designed to channel and amplify stellar entropy. Much like those poor fools from earlier in the Stev Diary did by accident to the home star, you can intentionally intensify stars, turning them into red giants to support your empire's expansion. Conduits are completely autonomous and are produced at regular intervals, so you're blowing up stars. Why? The Forced Ignition Crisis Pack allows you to overclock it. I assume that just means you blow stuff up at a higher rate. Okay, so we've got some more events. Our continued research into crystallized entropy has unveiled a chilling possibility. When highly concentrated, they can power weapons of unimaginable scale. Well, that's cool. Empty words of peace will not suffice. If we wish to prove our intentions, we must publicly cripple the Galactic Crucible core, ensuring it can never produce such weaponry. Otherwise, it is only a matter of time before the technology is weaponized by us or someone else. So you can set the galaxy aflame, but not take advantage of the weapons it gives you? Interesting. Our investigation into crystallized entropy and the designed Firestorm project has confirmed what we suspected. The potential for devastating weaponry is real. Well, that's cool. With such power in our hands, we no longer need to temper ourselves for the sake of diplomatic niceties. We must ready ourselves for war. So you can take a player crisis path, but choose a nice option. This is rather interesting, isn't it? Ember cruisers and battleships become available at various points in the crisis path. They're similar to standard cruisers and battleships, but gain additional benefits from the hyperthermia perks. Shouldn't it be hypothermia perks? Anyway, they cost crystallized entropy to build and are also wreathed in flames, which is pretty hot. The Ember battleships can equip lens paralyzers that the conduits carry. Completing the Crucible does not snuff out the galaxy, but it does Oh, okay, we're going to learn what the final phase of the plan is. Aha, here we go. Our mastery of crystallized energy will soon allow us to begin a radical transformation of the galaxy. We have opened wormholes to 6 systems around the galactic core. If we establish conduits in each of these and defend them from anyone who would meddle in our plans, we will be able to set the galaxy itself ablaze. Why? Sadly, the empires of the galaxy may disagree with our climate improving agenda and mobilize against us. Well, that makes sense. It's a player crisis. We envision a blazing utopia, but to create it, we must incinerate everything that stands in our way. We've lit the first sparks and now must stoke the flames until every corner of the galaxy has been consumed. Galactic... Oh, wicked. Okay, maybe we're getting... That's cool. Galactic Hyperthermia does have a little bit of an epilogue. Good, I like an epilogue. After cleansing the galaxy in flame, if you choose to continue playing, you'll receive a relic that can seed thermophilic life suitable for the new tempered galaxy. And that's called the crystallized singularity. So warped by a burning galaxy, this singularity crackles with an alluring heat. Unless carefully sealed, it will inexplicably draw pilgrims even to the most desolate worlds. Those who stand before it feel compelled to embrace a simpler life closer to the flames. What does that mean? Does that mean you walk into the flames? It's giving a ship fire rate. It's giving some weird physics research. Let's see what the comments say about this crisis, because I'm not sure I'm sold on it. All tempering. I do wonder if this feature will be available to Cosmogenesis empires, and maybe then it could become a proper crisis path that the galactic community will declare war on for risking the universe. I agree with this. I assume this person is suggesting Cosmogenesis needs to have some sort of galactic war component. Absolutely, it has to be done. Cosmogenesis is too free. The next comment. So not only can you stop halfway through and be nice properly, unlike what a lot of Cosmogenesis players were doing, but you can even be the overlord of a new galaxy. Too bad we probably can't burn the map and then become Galactic Emperor to the survivors. The stopping halfway through thing, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Again, does it feel too free? Because, and when I say free, the reason I say that is because the crisis paths, so Nemesis, Cosmo, and now this, they are incredibly powerful. But in my opinion, it should be a risk-reward sort of setup. You shouldn't be able to get this tremendous power for free. Because if you are able to get it for free or at an extremely low cost, then it becomes detrimental to not take it. And then it means you're taking it every single game, and it's just not, it doesn't make it as fun. It doesn't make it as valuable. And it makes it a lot less challenging. So if Hyperthermia finishes everything and gets the singularity, would that block a Cosmogenesis empire from getting the black hole endings? I don't know. I mean, surely all the other empires are dead at this point. Defender of the Galaxy shouldn't get the Crisis Path treatment, just become Emperor and buff your naval cap. I disagree with that, actually. I think Defender of the Galaxy should be reworked to be more interesting and more entertaining. I think it's a shame that, or not necessarily a shame, but I do think it's a shame. I think it's a shame that Nemesis and Cosmo and essentially the bad guy options have so much more depth to them than Defender of the Galaxy. I think Defender of the Galaxy should have a crisis-like mechanic, and maybe that culminates in becoming Galactic Custodian or Galactic Emperor, but a benevolent one, not necessarily a xenophilic one, but a benevolent one, if you like. Or maybe just allow it to be flexible. Okay, let's move on to the last development diary. This only came out a few days ago. This came out on Thursday, and I'm recording this on Saturday. So let's read the patch notes for this as well, because I believe there have been some controversies. So first, we're getting the Infernals Species Pack DLC. So we're going to get new portraits, Shipset, new Crisis Path we've just covered, 2 new Origins, we've covered them both in this video. All these new civics we've covered. I think we've covered most of the traits. Volcanic Worlds, we know what that is. Colossus Weapon, we know that we're getting it, but we don't really know what it is. We've seen one of the relics. 5 new Grand Archive collectibles. Specimens? That just means specimens. New text, buildings, events, and anomalies. Okay, balance. Now, balance is not normally my wheelhouse, but I'll talk about it anyway. Augmentation Bazaars can now select cybernetic traits in Empire Creation. I have no context for that at all. Clone Army. Now I do play clones quite a lot. It's one of my favourite origins. The Clone Soldier trait now adds 25% increase to food and mineral pop upkeep. That modifier is increased to 30% for ascended clones and reduced to 10% for fertile clones. Clone VAT's max pop assembly has been reduced from 25 to 20, and the building now has a small food upkeep. I think these are all very reasonable. It's not a massive change, 25% to food and mineral upkeep, especially given that you're still partially limited with ascended clones. I think clones did receive a massive buff with the Biogenesis DLC. I think they're in a great place. They still feel strong. They still feel fun to play. I don't think that's an issue at all. This one is more controversial. So Knights of the Toxic God. Reduce quest progress from knight jobs. Luminous Blades no longer negates alloy upkeep for knights and instead grants +1 admiral level. Choosing not to kill the toxic entity now grants you the ability to terraform toxic candidates, so it replaces the AP. The upkeep of the dimensional manipulation device has been increased. The basic output of knights has been reduced by 1 unity and 1 of each research type. Quest rewards have been similarly modified. I've seen a lot of chat about this. Is it not the squires that made knights so powerful in terms of an origin? What we'll do with this is we'll address some of the comments, because I'm sure there'll be comments about this. So I'll come to it when I address the comments. I don't think any of these are massively unreasonable though. Knights has been an incredibly powerful origin for a long time. They don't need to rotate origins, but they can't have the same origin being the strongest in the game for 6 years, even one as good as Knights. Knights can stand on its own. It has a fantastic story and semi-unique mechanics. I think it's fine. Life Seeded, the planet now has improved resource features. Fine. I mean, you can tell that Life Seeded was a much older origin, can't you? Overtuned. So the overtuned traits now slightly reduce pop growth between 1. That's weird. Reduce pop growth between 1.5 and 5% depending on trait. Pre-planned growth adds 15% upkeep. Why? Why? That seems slightly unreasonable. Maybe it's a balance thing. I mean, I'm assuming it is since it's under balance, but that seems a little bit unreasonable. Subterranean, reduce the pop growth assembly penalty. Yeah, I've always thought that this is... Why do Subterraneans have reduced pop growth? Rabbits don't have reduced pop growth. They live underground. I'm just saying. Synthetic fertility. The identity... I don't know the effect of this, but I understand that synthetic fertility is very strong, so I get it. This is a huge bugbear of mine. The Summon Dimensional Fleet Astral action now summons cruisers and escorts equal to twice the number of rifts you have explored. I guess that's a nerf, because previously it would scale with naval cap, and now it scales with rifts. So you assume the number is smaller. I'm not a fan of this in any way. I really dislike the idea that you can press a button and get a massive fleet. And I know that it's not the most powerful fleet in the world, but you just magic it out of nowhere for... Actually, you don't even have to pay Unity for it, do you? You just pay some astral thread. I don't like it at all. I don't think it'd be a bad thing if that got deleted entirely. Will it be less impactful? Probably. Will the AI still spam it? Almost definitely. EQ Monopolises no longer provide bonuses to pop growth. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Why would they provide bonuses to pop growth? Who wants to live in a giant stinky city anyway? Why would that happen? Dire Worlds do provide bonuses to pop growth. That I can get beyond. In a literal paradise, reproduction would go up, maybe. Okay, we'll skip past the bug fixes. Performance. Optimize Summon Dimensional Fleet to work faster and not freeze the game. Just delete it. Just remove it from the game. Especially if it's causing performance issues, just get rid of it. It's such a... Oh, I so strongly dislike it. The reason as well I strongly dislike it is because the AI use it all the time. So if you have a 12 Galaxy AI, you have 12 of these irritating dimensional fleets just being summoned every however long the cooldown is, constantly. Yeah, I strongly dislike it. Okay, so that covers everything, but let's dive into the comments, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have some good comments about this. I hope so. If not, we'll pop over to Reddit. Always nice to see the smaller changes. I assume they're inspired by community discussion. I feel like Gaia worlds need a little bit more than just inherent growth. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think Gaia worlds feel as strong as they should. Here we go. Merch 991. In regards to the EQ monopolist change, I want to say that it's a start, but the real problem with them is their massive efficiency. In fact, these are the two major problems, with efficiency modifiers generally over abundance being the third one for massive power creep in mid to late game. I don't really understand why penal colonies and resort worlds are kept to 1, but ECUs, hives and machine worlds, which are far more powerful, can be freely spammed. I think that is very reasonable indeed, actually. I hope that the idea to change them into a standard technology and limiting to 1 per empire will be at least considered. Oh, it is massively unpopular. I know this is a massively unpopular opinion, but as I said before, they are currently the main sources of economy power spikes. Limit them would massively help performance and general rebalance. 9 people disagree with it, 5 people like it. Oh, 1 people agree. What does that mean? Oh, like it. Is this helpful? Okay, so 9 people respectfully disagree. Respectfully. I would have no problem whatsoever limiting ECUs to 1 per empire. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. I think it's silly when you have 15 planets and 14 of them are ECUs. I don't like that. I may very well be in the minority based on these votes, but I don't like it. I don't think it makes sense. And they're right, ECUs are ridiculously powerful. I never used to feel the same way about machine worlds and hive worlds, because it made complete sense to me that a Gestalt would make all of their planets into one uniform structure, be it a hive world or a machine world. And also, hive and machine worlds never used to be on the same level of ECUs, but that obviously got changed when they redid the planets. I don't know, I certainly wouldn't lose any sleep whatsoever if they nerfed ECUs or changed the way that ECUs operate. Maybe you can only have 3 per empire, or maybe you can only have 1 per 10 planets or something like that. Because I think it's silly if an organic empire turns every single planet into a city planet. I mean, what an awful place to live. I think they should have massive habitability penalties, and they should have massive stability penalties. If you put however many trillion people in a tiny little place, it's not going to be pleasant for anyone. Maybe, especially if they were non-communal. I forget the name of the trait. I think the name of the trait is communal, where they like living together. Anyway, I think ECUs need a nerf. I agree with this, even if it's against the opinions of others. Why would you even... Okay, so this is a reply. That's interesting. Why would you even span penal or resort worlds? They're only good for their empire-wide buffs. This is such a bad take. Okay, it's maybe I've been too critical. Why would you spam penal or resort worlds? Well, the answer is you shouldn't, because thematically it would be silly. I mean, if you have, say, 20 planets, you wouldn't... Having 5 penal worlds just wouldn't make sense, unless you were like a really slave-orientated empire or something, I'm not sure. Equally, having 5 resort worlds wouldn't make sense, just from an empire-building society. They're only good for the empire-wide buffs. This is the thing I dislike about it. It becomes so mechanical. Anyway. EQ Monopoly, I think it's monopolists, anyway, are fairly expensive. They're not fairly expensive. They're 20,000 minerals. Not only does it cost a lot to build them in the first place, but they also turn into massive resource sinks. I don't know that they do anymore, actually, not with job efficiency. And you can't even spam them because you need the... Yeah, this is... Okay, this is not a good... I disagree with this. It's not uncommon to see players with 20 planets and having 15 of them as ECUs. I don't think that's uncommon at all. Okay, so we've popped on over to Reddit to get the Reddit thoughts, because I think this will be a bit better with the upvoted, downvoted scenarios. These are some beefy nerfs to knights. Good lord. Not a moment too soon. I'd preferred it to stay broken. Why would you have preferred it to stay broken? This is clearly intended as a nerf to infinite squire stacking. Just stack less and make more alloy. Cave Dweller buff. I like that. I think Cave Dwellers are unnecessarily hurt, where the endless slaves toil in the blazing hot lava mines while breathing in the smoke-filled air released from the massive industrial cavern. Wow. This guy does... Chad Gustav, they do Utopia. Huge W for life seeded, agreed. No fix to treasure seekers not being able to colonize the pirate planet. That's a annoying bug, but I think that only happens if you take it from an AI or if an AI takes it from you. Please fix the issues with necrophage. Don't know about those. Was Overtune really strong enough to warrant? Yeah, that's sort of what I thought. Was Overtune really strong enough to warrant decreasing pop growth? It's an S tier pick. That's, yeah, okay, I think that's fair, although it says under here that's not the case. You can't first pick it. Okay, maybe that's not fair. ECU pop growth nerf is notable. Your virtual one trick. Wow. Imagine being a one trick in Stellaris. What does that even mean? Not League of Legends. Pretty light on performance updates. That's not unreasonable. I feel like Overtuned trait nerf misses the mark on why Overtuned is so strong right now. The best Overtuned builds I've used use pre-planned growth and Overtuned modding anyways, and this change will just reinforce that. The problem with Overtuned is getting access to your Ascension after 2 traditions instead of 3. Yeah, agreed. It's also why synthetic fertility is so strong. Agreed. And it's why Teachers of the Shroud was so strong as well. I'd love to read that, but you need to use paragraphs, my friend. Oh, I'm not sure if dimensional fleets will be usable by now. I get that they need to reduce fleets in the galaxy and help with game lags, and this is huge. This only got 3 updates, so yeah. I wonder, can we filter by controversial? Let's filter by controversial. Finally, a reason to get rid of the Knights buff, since they'll also be nerfed and the Toxic God Colossus giving toxic terraforming is good. Why did they have to nerf Knights like this? I liked it when they went crazy with cloning. Because it was too easy. It was too easy. I'd just stack squires and then I'd get rid of alloy upkeep and whoosh, my alloys go through the roof and I can start spinning shit. Utterly broken but still fun. Yeah. I don't know about the Gaia world. It's interesting that that's controversial. Since Gaia worlds have been pointless for a while, well, they hurt Gaia worlds in the change. And I think Gaia worlds should. They hurt Gaia worlds when they changed the planets back in 4.0. They hurt Gaia worlds a lot. ECUs have always been valuable, but then a Gaia world is in theory easier to acquire than an ECU, I guess. It's certainly cheaper. Astral Fleet went from kill FPS to pointless to just pointless. Yeah. Do you know what? I think we're going to call it there. It's been fun to go through all of this. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week on release.